What's up, guys? So I got a little video for you guys, probably won't be a really long one, but it's going to be on women and why you guys suck with them. For the most part, anyone that I've come in to interact with, specifically from the outside of the crew, guys that can be in other groups, guys that are doing these things, and guys listening to masculinity gurus or coaches or things like that, you guys suck with women. Like, you guys really don't understand them fucking at all. A lot of guys lean into their logic completely with women and try and verbalize putting her in a box, or like explaining to her why they would be a good date or why they're a good option, or they try and show a bunch of resources for why this girl should take them serious. Women don't work like that. The only girl who's going to work like that is going to be essentially an escort type, a sugar baby type. A lot of the guys, when they get women, they're fucking old. Like guys who are multi-millionaires with a chick who's like in her 30s. And that's like that, but they don't want to be with that. They'd ideally like to be with a girl who's like early 20s or things like that, but they don't apply. They don't know how to get interest of girls like that. See, if women only wanted resources and women only wanted this, I'm in Dubai. It would be full of young foreign women. It would be flooded with women like 20 to 22, 23. They would be here in the prime of their life to settle down for a rich guy, because there's lots of rich guys here, and that's what they would do. But that's not what they do, because Dubai is, yes, they have the local women and they're off limits. I'm just talking about the foreign women. The foreign women here are old. Most of them are fucking old. Like, they come here to try and age. They're trying to continue their sugar baby spree. But understand that when they wanted to, when they had their youth and they had the options, they didn't want to come here. They only come here at the end. Because understand that when a woman is 20 to 23, 24, even 25, her biggest currency is fun. And it's still fun when she's older. But she just can't maintain that sort of a fun lifestyle anymore. Like, the guy who's exciting and interesting, he's not going to want the girl that's that age anymore. He wants another younger woman. He's going to want more youth again, because that's just the way that guys usually work. He's not going to want a girl who's in her 30s as soon as she ages out of that sort of concept. Unless he's kept her around for a long time, then he's going to move on to another younger girl, similar to like the DiCaprio types and things like that. He's a fun guy. I've heard many stories about him, from personal stories, that he's a fun person. So again, that's the biggest currency of women. So guys get it very wrong, because they think like they treat women as though a guy would treat a woman if he's a sugar daddy, like a customer. They treat a girl trying to isolate her into a box, trying to control her financially, trying to control her with money. I do X, you do Y. I'm trying to like logically explain how our relationship is going to be, like our connection. It doesn't work like that with women. Women will take a very bad deal for themselves if it like gets their emotional juice flowing. Women will go with criminals. Women will be with guys who are fucking complete losers. Women will go with a guy who sleeps on his mummy's couch. Women will go to work for a guy who stays at home if he knows how to spike her emotions. See, that's very different. He doesn't need to be rich. See, those ideas and those ideologies and things of a lot of the masculinity gurus, they don't work in reality. I see it, a lot of guys like running around in like suits and things like that, and all of these things that they are running around with all of these cars and all of this stuff, and I have all of this money, and the right girl's just going to come in, and I'm a stoic rock, and the girl's going to crash into me, and just like, I'm the guy that's just consistent and I'm reliable, and women don't like any of that. Like, that's none of that stuff. I understand those are beta male provider signs. Like, consistent is good, but you have to have all of the rest. Consistent, the girl is not going to get wet over what is consistent. A woman, understand that there are two types. See, there's a type for you as well. See, understand this logical concept. I'll explain it in a way men will understand, because it's difficult. The girl that you want to fuck is often not the girl that you want to marry. See, I understand those ideas. The girl who can be the sexiest girl that you fuck, and the girl who's out, or maybe she's got her tits out and she looks sexy as fuck, and you're like, I want to fuck her a lot and I like the sex, but I just can't take her that serious. Understand that women are the same, versus the other type who's like really, she might be like traditional and she does everything right and things like that, but she's not the one that ideally you want to fuck again and again and again. Because understand, when you have a girl who's traditional and she's inexperienced and things like that, you have to build her up. See, building up those sort of ideas, they're different. She's come inexperienced, but in turn you have to be the one that builds her up into all of the qualities and things that you would want. So obviously one is a better long-term prospect. But the other one comes correct immediately. If you're to walk around with her, if she is with you in public, people stare at you, everyone thinks that you're the man. Everyone thinks all of these things. Other women are like, this guy's got something going on. Like, this chick is really hot, so he must have, there's a lot to this guy. Whereas the other girl, she's probably going to be more shy. She's going to be less experienced. She's going to have all of these things, which is good for the long term. But it's not going to be things that pay dividends immediately. That's more like you're going to want someone for a long-term relationship. That's the mother of your kids type. They run very opposite in that sort of regard. But understand for women, it's a similar idea. But women sexually is like, they feel that sex 100 times more than you do. Women's mind is an endless abyss of degeneracy. See, that's the thing. And women are always the same. See, women's like, their mind, how it works is they can become anything. They're completely fluid, how their mind works. They're completely malleable and open. If you push a woman down certain degenerate paths, you'll find that they can go endlessly down it, and they can that's just how they are. They're not thinking, they're feeling, so they don't really realize that that's how they get into a lot of shitty times. That's a real thing. Look at the sidekick for Epstein, the chick, Maxwell. That's a real thing. Like, if women go down those paths, they can go really far down it, specifically if they have a certain guy with them. And there's that sort of a type that pushes them down it or guides them down it. That's it, because they're not thinking first, they're feeling first. That's a real thing. Women especially, specifically if you're getting women for the long term, if she has too much history, like she's done too many like kinky things, or she's done things that have caused like a large imprint into her mind around sex, you're not going to really likely be able to overwrite that. You have to be the one that's the most impactful that she's ever been with. It doesn't mean that you have to have the biggest dick. It doesn't mean that you have to have the fuck the hardest. It doesn't mean that you have to fuck the longest, but you have to imprint the most. See, that's the concept. Imprinting on women, a large part of it is done during sex and around sex, because they're very hyper aware. Like, they're malleable during sex. Like, women are very malleable when they're wet. That's the idea. Like, women, they say with lesbianism and shit like that, women are straight till they get, like, spaghetti is straight till it gets wet. That's what they say with women as well. Like, women are the same thing. Like, many I've known that become bi and things like that, they were not really into it, but then they got turned on, and then other girls, like, they're kissing girls and that, and before you know it, they end up fucking. That can happen with women. It's a true thing if you know how to deal with them sexually like that. But again, these concepts might be foreign or far ahead of people. But understand, where it comes back to is emotionality is their currency. Women run on emotion. If you can't see guys, and that's why it makes me kind of laugh and cringe. I see these stoic rock types, like the stoic types, and I'm a fighter, I'm this and that. How many guys that are fighters then you see the girls they're with? They're not hot. Why are they not with hot women? Even though many of them are famous, and they still don't have hot women. If they have women, they're old. Where are all like the 20 to 23, 24-year-olds coming into? Why are they with like these dorks that can have broccoli hair and all of these things? Because they know how to be fun. They know how to be like joking with women. They know how to get an emotional response out of them, often learned through school. See, school and teasing and all of these things, and why it works is it shows it's like a youthful vigor, and why it works in a way that you could understand logically. Women know that if she's meeting you, let's say she meets you off the apps, let's say she meets you in person, and you present a certain way, that you've already won the game to a degree. You have something to offer. You've met through her app vetting standards. You've passed that, so obviously you have something. And then she meets you, and you're not coming across as someone who's traumatized. You're not afraid to show vulnerability. See, vulnerability only comes with strength behind it. If she meets you and you're a winner, and I'm not saying that you're a winner and that you're a millionaire, but she wouldn't meet you if you're a loser. Like, she's not really going to meet you. So understand that when she senses some vulnerability and you can talk about things that are more vulnerable, she knows that there's likely strength behind it, or that you've at least processed that sort of a trauma. See, a lot of guys, when they're traumatized, they think women can't see it, and they think trauma is the noose with the slingshot. I've said it many times. Trauma is good when it's dealt with, when it's actually handled by men, but a lot of men's trauma is not handled. See, trauma is not being damaged or pierced by the world and then going and joining the gym. Trauma is not being pierced by the world and then going and doing 100 rounds in a boxing gym, and then but also not dealing with the original issue, because the issue is still there. You've just built, and for many, they've just built a barricade over themselves, and now that comes across via insecurity, passive aggressiveness. You have a real hardness to you. You sit like this. you have like you're too scared to get close. Like you're scared to get close to women. You're scared to show them a crack in the armor because you think that they'll exploit it. Understand that when you do things like that, women sense that as insecurity. Insecurity, you've got a little cock. Like you're not going to fuck well because you're insecure. You're not getting any emotion. Like there's no emotion here. Emotion. Imagine her currency meter. Her interest meter is spiking based on how emotional this discussion is. Can you get it? How's your eye contact? Eye contact is one way to build emotion and build chemistry, yes. But were you giving her anything to pull on? Like, is there anything to pull on for you, like to do with you? A lot of people, there's nothing to pull on because they're just like a veneered shell over themselves. A lot of people are trying to be someone that they think that the girl will want. A lot of them are trying to be really strong and present in a way that comes across like a stoic Terminator type. A lot of guys come across like they'll watch these influencers and things like that and think that the good way to deal with women is to just sit there like this and maintain a masculine frame and just sit there and don't say anything unless the girl says something, and like don't be silly or don't laugh. Like you got to be dead serious when you deal with women. Women are specifically younger women. I'm talking in the ranges that you would actually want to fuck. If you want to be with old bags, like if you really want to go be with a bunch of old women, maybe that's true, because most are like starting to get into like high risk pregnancy. Their hormones have changed. They're gonna they know that they've learned at their age that resources are more important. So they're already at a point where they're like, I'm kind of tired of working or doing things for myself. I have less options. This guy's like stoic. He's consistent. He's promising me that if I'm a good girl to his face, I'll get like looked after and he'll do all of these things. So yeah, it's probably a pretty good time for me to make a deal. But deals and shit like that, they don't get women wet. Women fuck the guy that makes them feel something. Women fuck the guy at the party who made them feel something. Women can fuck the guy at the nightclub who makes them feel something. Women can cheat on a guy who's a multi-millionaire with a guy who made them feel something, even if the guy's a complete loser and they know that. See, that's the thing. Do you want to be the guy that makes her pussy wet? Or do you want to be the guy that she thinks like, he's a good provider, he's got a good income and like he's reliable and like, yeah, the sex is pretty boring because like he's really predictably consistent and like he's pretty closed off and he's, even in the bedroom, like he's quite a bit insecure and things like that. And he's, when we fuck, he's quite like disconnected. Connection is what makes women come. A connection, like feeling a connection with someone. It's not the biggest dick. It's spontaneity and the moment. That's what makes women come. Connection, eye contact, things like that. It's not having the biggest cock and being the biggest jackhammer. See, people watch a lot of porn and they don't really realize those sort of things. I mean, that's not the truth of the matter. It's the again, emotionality, connection. All of that stuff has to be there. She knows that if you're able to be like vulnerable, that's very attractive. If you're able to also, because empathy is a big thing that women like. That's a big part of it. Again, you're not going to be able to sense her like vulnerabilities or her feelings or also cater to that. See, catering to a woman's feelings is a big part of our relationships. People are fucking so dumb that they don't realize that that's very important for women. See, a lot of guys, if they're fair about themselves, if they can have women at all, if they have to control everything that they do. A lot of guys like control chicks' phones or like they're logged in on her Instagram or all of these things, or like I'm monitoring pretty much when she takes a shit. I'm careful that, she's like, I don't want her to really do anything because I'm really scared of all of that. Understand that all of that is essentially little dick energy. You're doing all of that, and again, it's because you are unsure, like you're insecure. You think that even if you're insecure in yourself, you think that it's a possibility that she could leave. If she was left to her own devices, she might leave you. So again, that's not for you. I'm a firm believer of you should only progress into things that are for you. Again, if you can do all of those things, the right woman's not going to leave anyway. Like if you can do all of these emotionality spikes, the toxic and also the positive, then understand that the woman's not going to leave you. A lot of you don't know how to actually do toxic spikes either though. See, I can talk about this all day and understand that I talk about this with a large amount of downside because I give you guys massive amounts of juice, and girls and people that I know watch it and they're like, I now realize what Steven's doing. But that's also encompassed in my personality. It's a concept called the toxic rubber band. Again, it's like a rubber band and you pull it and this is to the good side and it can be to the bad side. And I run a concept of 80% good and 20% bad. 80% of the time you're encouraging, you're on her side, always backing her up, things like that. but 20% of the time you can be difficult. You can be moody. You can be grumpy. You can be like dismissive. You can be challenging her ideas. You can be making her essentially feel uncomfortable. All of these things, because again, emotionality is key. If you're too predictable, emotions, like what's given constantly, is not really going to be appreciated. If you're 80% of the time like reassuring, 20% of the time you can be critical because you're correcting behavior you don't like, doing things like that, maintaining frame. That's the nature of the relationship. A lot of you don't realize the masculine and feminine roles in a relationship and a household, and in doing so, you're only going to, if you live together, you're going to become like her best friend, and then probably her gay best friend. Like that's going to be how it comes across, because it's going to get boring. Like you don't realize that gender roles exist because it maintains the relationship. Like it's something that's there, it's a consistency. Men have their role in the relationship, and I believe leading the house, and if it works for you, if you want to run a different system, that's fine, but you'll see how it eventually goes. Women listen to the strongest man in their life, and not the strongest man in their life that he can beat everyone up, but the one that they essentially respect the most. That's important. The one who's essentially going to get the most feelings, like emotionality, out of her. You have to be able to listen to women. You have to be able to essentially be empathetic, because they have to be able to come to you with their issues. A lot of you don't realize that your women, if you're really like this stoic terminator, is really unhappy inside. Like she doesn't have anyone to come to. And if you've isolated her so that she doesn't have her friends and things like that, that's the only reason that it's worked. Because if you were to bring her around friends and things like that, and she had people to talk to, she'd be out the window for a lot of that sort of stuff. A lot of that, if you're not catering to that side, understand that it doesn't go away with women. Resentment builds, and then when you get older, the resentment's going to build. She's going to blame you for many things. You're not catering to her emotional side as well. Women are not like logical creatures. They're not happy that see, guys can be like crazy too, that they think that they build a heap of equity up with women. They think that just because I've done right for all of these years, and I've done all of these things, and like she's lived with me rent free, and like I've done all these things, surely that means that like I've built all of this like checkbook and thing, and then they get caught cheating or something happens, and then they're like completely shocked that the chick just tells them to get fucked and leave. And they're like, but I did all of this shit. Nice guys can think that they do a bunch of fucking tasks and bullshit. Oh, I cleaned the house. That means that she's going to suck on my wee-wee. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It actually works opposite to it. People don't like to be like, they're very aware that you're doing certain things to get an outcome. People don't like that, like specifically women. Because again, you're trying to put them in a box to get something that you don't naturally qualify for. So you understand that when it's natural, and when you're actually being like the dopamine dealer concept, she's going to suck your dick, and it does not to be expected. It's just natural. She wants to do it. See, women enjoy sex. Women enjoy, I'm not saying all, but most enjoy pleasing their man, like actually pleasuring their man. A lot of you guys think that women don't enjoy sex, so that you have to trick them to have sex with you. And that's like retarded thinking. Like that's really fucking crazy. A woman's orgasm and sex, they can continually, like you can have one and again and again and again. And there's more nerve endings on like the clit than there is on the dick. So they're actually going to enjoy sex more than you. But women stress and that don't run together with sex for women. Women run best when they're connected to you. They're vented. They've had all of that emotional crap that they've also been able to talk about and things like that. And then they move into sex because now they feel like there's a connection there. The best connection and the best sex that you're going to have with women, I'm not saying the best overall because spontaneity and things like that can also be fun, but the most times that they're going to come is when they're connected to you. See, I have a thing with girls where I'll listen to them at night when they'll talk. I'll ask them how their day was or something in bed, and they'll just talk and talk and talk, and then they sleep so well. And they'll tell you the next day, I really enjoyed having someone to talk to about this. I really like it when you listen to me and when you ask me questions. See, most people don't ask questions, and in doing so, that's their women's kryptonite. If you can ask good questions, then it make you very memorable. Because a lot of guys either think too much. With women, again, a lot of the time it's not about solving the issue. Like when women talk about a problem, many times it's not about actually solving the problem. They don't really care about the problem getting solved. They just want to talk about it. Their way of processing things is very different to men. Men, we think of a solution. Oh, well, now we have to do this solution. Oh, you've got an issue at work. You don't like this person. You want to lose some weight, or maybe you want to get in the gym and get a bit stronger. Yeah, let's tee it up. We'll get you in the gym and you can do this and that. And then they're like, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to talk about like some gossip or some other crap or shit that they just like to talk about. But if you don't acknowledge it, see, sometimes like there's things that you don't enjoy. Maybe you don't want to hear about some crap, like there was some show or some bullshit that she was watching, and then you don't realize that it's part of making her like it's part of her homeostasis for her everything. That they also can watch shows and watch dumb TikToks and watch crap, or like watch dog movies or cat shows or all of these reels and shit that you don't really like, and they show you them and they share them with you. And that's part of what makes them feel connected with you. So if you dismiss everything that's to do with her and you tell her, like, I don't want to hear this shit, I'm busy, I don't care, come to me only when you want to suck my dick or you want money, you're only going to be a customer. A lot of you gurus and heroes for women are customers. Like, that's all that they are. They think that they've got women on a string, but all it is the woman just pretends that she agrees with what they say because they're getting paid. She's getting financial benefits from that. She's getting clout. But then they don't have like a meaningful connection with the woman. They don't have it's not the same. They're connected to their wallet. So again, if you're going to pay a bunch of chicks and pay a bunch of money, maybe that's what you want to do. But again, it's not going to be the same impact or the same strength or the same girl who's going to drop everything as the one who's the one that she really feels a connection with, the one that makes her feel things, the one that she's like, he's himself. And another concept that I'll tell you guys to lean more into, that's what I teach you guys over time here, and also I teach it much more in my group, TCM, The Complete Man. I run the big group and we talk about concepts like this. I do talks every week where I'll talk to members and cover what I cover, and also talk about different topics. And when you join, there's a bunch of content, things to accept and absorb about women, money, lifestyle, social media, marketing, and many other things. But psychology, men's health, cover kind of everything. It's a good little group we've got there. It's getting bigger. But the concepts that most men, they don't know how to make anyone feel anything. You guys most of you make people feel indifferent. When you meet someone and they deal with you and they've talked to you, they don't feel anything when they leave your presence. Feeling is very important, even for men and men. Like, have they left some sort of impact, an impression? Have they reached out to you and like just touched you in the heart just a little bit? If they can, then they're probably going to want to see them again. Like, they're going to want to stick around. In a world of like logic and AI and all of these things that are coming into the future, the person who can make someone feel something, that's the best content as well. The content that you watch it and it either angers you in some way, like gets you, like pokes you in the heart in some way, draws on some feeling or some moment or some memory that you've had. Or what happens with men that's very strong is they feel like you listen to them, like you've connected with them in some way because you actually listen to them when they speak. A lot of people, when they talk, they don't listen to you. Like, imagine that you're telling a story or something. A lot of people either interject with shit that they want to add. Oh yeah, this is similar to what I did, and I did this and that and this. Or they like rush you along. Or you can just tell that they're not really listening. They don't really ask questions building off your story. They don't ask for more information or things like that. You can kind of look at them and you're like, they're just like this, like they're waiting for their chance to interject, or they're waiting for their chance to finish you up and then jump into their shit. They're not listening to you, and they don't really make you feel validated because they're not like, you can tell that they're just not really listening. They're not involved, they're not active. They're kind of acting like an NPC. They're acting like a bot sort of thing, or they're just selfish. And again, those are qualities that men don't really like. Men like to be listened to and acknowledged and respected and things like that. So if you can understand that and be a good listener, a good person who asks questions that are good questions, specifically if you're around higher value people and people that have things to offer, that's going to be their kryptonite, mostly for men. That's a large part of their kryptonite is. But it's also a kryptonite for women. See, if you ask women good questions, not good questions as someone who's asking a bunch of fucking bullshit. A lot of you ask questions about chicks. Oh, what are you studying? And like, what's your work like? Oh, what's your boss like? And like, do you have any aspirations to be like some sort of bullshit job? And oh, I'm so impressed that you're like a secretary. And like, that's really impresses me, a multi-millionaire. I own a few businesses, but it impresses me that you've done something that's quite basic. They know all of that's bullshit, because they know that you shouldn't be impressed by that because it's likely that you've done more. But then if you can talk about bullshit topics, see, topics that women like, spirituality, like people talk about tarot cards, star signs, and you don't see star signs as the definition. Star signs gets the midwits out. As soon as you start talking about tarot cards or star signs and things like that, you identify all of the retards in the room. See, the dumbasses that are actually the midwits, they're the ones that are going to lose the most in life. If someone comes around and you're like, yeah, I'm a Cancer, I do this and that, understand that the dumbest person in the room thinks that it's real, and the smartest person in the room thinks that it's real because he knows that the most people think that it's real. And the ones in the middle will sit there and debate it and argue and all of that crap. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of the matter. The dumbest person in the room just says it's real. The smartest person in the room will also say it's real, because power lies where the people believe it lies. And in doing so as well, there's a lot of juice there because it's interesting, it's exciting. People like the occult. And some people will sit there and be like, oh, that's like goes against my religion to like possibly talk about star signs or like astronomy or things like that. And that's, in doing so, a lot of you guys are restricted. That's not exciting. You're trying to put people in a box of judgment, and understand that if you're in a judgmental frame, you're going to struggle. A lot of you guys like post like red pill content or like talk about women are this and women are hoes and women are all of these things. And I can do it because I have an abundance of women. But if you do it, understand that you're going to struggle. If you're judging a girl, like you're judging one girl, understand that the other women in the room are also feeling judged. They don't like it. If one girl's an OF hoe or does some crap and the others aren't, and you start picking on the girl who's a hoe, you'll be very surprised to find that they actually unite against you. It's how women's mind works, because they're very malleable, but they also don't respond well to those sort of like games, versus if you had have like joked about it and picked on her in like that's an intellectual way, but in a way that also like fed onto it. Now that would be exciting. Like other people would view it as well, and they think that it's interesting because you're showing that you're quite smart, like banter and things like that. It's very sexual for women. That's those qualities and things that they like because it makes them feel something. Versus when you're just destroying them with judgment. Judgment is a heavy thing for women. They don't like it because, again, it's responsibility. If you're putting responsibility on a woman's shoulders, that's not going to get them wet. Those sort of ideas. Responsibility, accountability, stress, any of that turns women off. If you try to keep them accountable for their actions, maybe you've got a girl and she does something, and you come to her and you think that you're going to like tell her about it and leave it on her shoulders, and she's sitting there and she's like, oh, I feel so bad that he's done all this, like, oh, I got all of this heavy weight and all of this guilt over my head. That's not true. Women don't think like men. Women don't act in a way they don't understand honor. A woman will never run to the front line and die in war the same way a man will die for an idea. Women would never do that. They're not bred for that. They don't like that. They're malleable. They're malleable to the people that understand them and actually know how to essentially mold them. But they're not firm like that. Like they won't go and do it. They won't do that sort of an idea. So if you treat them like men, understand that it turns them off. It puts a lot of pressure on them. Pressure is, again, not something that makes them wet. Doesn't make them want to fuck. So it depends what you want to be. If you want to be a guy that, doesn't really get girls wet and isn't the one that they think about when they actually want to fuck, then you're gonna really struggle with those sort of ideas. That's the difficult thing for guys. That's the thing. You have to be fun. You have to be yourself. See, that's where I'll tell you guys all of the qualities that matter. You have to be fun. You have to be yourself. You have to identify your qualities and come to respect yourself, but also deal with old trauma. Maybe you got your heart broken, and in doing so you've just lived in the gym. But then also now you break the hearts of other women. Some of you hurt people, hurt others. Some of you got hurt by a girl and now you're just running through the Tinder roulette nonstop. And you think that, women are trash, so I don't care, that I'm just going to shit the world up the way that I got hurt. I'm just going to lie to women and cheat on them and things like that. But eventually I'll get sick of it and find the right one. They'll get through to me. It doesn't work like that. Like the more that you do a certain behavior and the more that you harden yourself up, it gets thicker. See, understand the walls that you've put in front of you today. A year from now, they'll be thicker. 5 years from now, they'll be thicker. 10 years from now, they'll be thicker. And 10 or 20 years from now, they'll be so thick that no one can get through to you anymore. That's true. And not only will they not be able to get through to you, you won't be able to get through to them. See, a lot of people now, they don't realize how it works with like a hard shell. That's what happens. So something pierces you, it wounds you. Maybe it's a bad rejection. Maybe it's being cheated on. Maybe it's being rejected by girls for too long. Maybe it's like you just watched, some of you watched a bunch of doom content on women and you think that all women are trash now. Some of you don't like the way that the world has pushed women into. Like some of you don't like the ideas of feminism and things like that. Some of you lack self-confidence, and then you don't really know how to build a relationship with women or actually really interact with them at all at any level other than as like a gay best friend. Some of you, again, don't really know how the true amount of masculinity. See, as soon as I see masculinity and I see a masculinity guy running women over, belittling them, humiliating them, making them feel bad, I realize that's not a man. Men don't run over children, like the same sort of a logic. Like you take serious what God made for fun, essentially. That's the thing. Like they're made for fun, for having babies with and things like that. And they're still people and they're still all of these things. But a lot of you take it too serious. Like you take too serious and you put too many expectations on other people, instead of having stricter expectations on yourself. Some of you think that just because you exist and you're a good guy means that you're going to get a good outcome, and that's not true. Specifically around women, because they're a phenomenon of their own. Women, and again, that's why people will tell me, like, women only care about money and they only care about this, and then the guy who has the most money is going to be the one. That's not true. Do you know how many women I know waiting for guys that are in prison? I would know I've been to prison. Do you know how many guys I know that are in prison for years and they have girls coming that are hotter than any girl that any of you gurus have even spoken to? Many. Because it's exciting, because it's dramatic. The guy lives an exciting life on the outside. He lives a dramatic life on the inside. She likes to tell people that she's visiting someone in prison. She likes to tell people that her got man is in prison, all of these things. He knows how to pull on her heartstrings, her emotions. Some of the best pipes and best talkers you'll ever see are guys in prison, because they get on the phone and they know how to pull at women's emotions. They know how to put her in a spot that some other spot that others can't get to. And people will say, oh, maybe she cheats and maybe she does. Maybe she does, but as soon as the guy gets out, she acts right, because she knows that that's very difficult to replace. He's a very good talker. Like a lot of guys have very good pipes, and they're just a good talker like that. They know how to be smooth. They know how to also get parts of her that signal for a long-term relationship. They know how to treat her with respect. See, people are, again, a lot of the stuff that's taught on here is scarcity-based, like fear-based, like belittle women and neg them, or like put them in a box, and girls have to cover up and all of these things, and like when she's around me she has to be smaller, and that's all insecurity-based. Like that's someone who has a 2-inch cock. Like why does someone have to be smaller to be with you? Shouldn't they try and be the biggest that they can because you're also big? Like you're bigger. Again, like why are you trying to make someone small? That's the sort of mentality, and women can feel it. They know it. They know those sort of ideas. Guys would die to can't even give a girl a compliment. It makes them feel uncomfortable for some reason. They think, oh, I don't want to give her something because then I feel like she's got it over me, or like I'm going to make myself look weak for some reason to compliment someone. That's not how the world works. Of course, to run around and give a bunch of compliments, like some people jump online and message random models on Instagram and be like, you got a nice ass and all this stuff. Of course, that's a very shallow compliment. But it's also very it's obvious. It's not calibrated. It's like me running on and saying happy birthday to Cristiano Ronaldo and then being like, why didn't he DM me back? Because I'm irrelevant to him. I'm not on his radar. Like that's pretty obvious. You have to be calibrated. Again, but it's the same thing. Like you're not giving compliments into an abyss. But if you have good interaction with someone and you give them a compliment for something that's, something personal is always better. If you're like nice tits or nice ass or nice smile, or nice smile's a bit better, but still complimenting on the physical, that's going to leave less of an impression. The best compliments are that you notice something is a niche about the person. You notice something that's like a niche about them, and if you can compliment them in front of others, that's their kryptonite. This a compliment in front of others for women too is a kryptonite, because you've shown that you have only a simp would do that, or someone with massive nuts. So it's for her to decide what one you are. Because if you're complimenting a girl in front of other girls, you've shown that that you're pretty much willing to look like you're interested in her in front of all of these girls or other people. Only a simp would do that, or someone it means something. So those sort of things, they do get noticed by women. A lot of people think that's not true, and it's not. It isn't. Anything that you do from a position of abundance, it's very noticed in this life. It's only done in a way that's either you're completely uncalibrated and you compliment everyone, and in that case it doesn't mean the same. But if you are to compliment people less and your words actually mean something, then that's important. Again, it's part of the conversation of if you talk too much, your words are going to mean less in the conversation. But if you don't talk a lot, your conversation when you do speak is going to mean more. It doesn't mean gesturing. See, gesturing, people will, again, think of extremes. Gesturing is a thing that men can do. I find it's either really two things. Guys are too stoic, rock, and they're insecure. They think that if they say less, that the chick should come to them, and chick should hang off them, and their fantasy is that these girls are going to approach them, and they're going to be so wowed by them that they're just going to hang off them, as though a girl who's traditional, a girl that you would want, is going to approach a guy who looks scary and confident and quiet. So by definition, you're going to only get girls who are used to being around that sort of idea, or those are guys who are confident enough to run up to you and approach you. And most girls who are traditional will not like that idea. They don't like to have to approach guys for the first time because it makes them uncomfortable, it makes them insecure. They think that you should be the one that approaches. So it's either that sort of an idea, the guy who sits in the club and looks really cool but sits kind of like this and then doesn't really approach anyone and thinks all of the girls should come to him, and then sits there and goes, I don't know why the girls come to me that aren't traditional. That's pretty obvious. And I'm not saying traditional girls would be in the club, that's just a case study, that's an example. Gym or everywhere could be the same. Some guys think that, and I've fallen into this trap many times, that women should just approach them because they're the shit. And that's not true, because the only women that will approach you are going to be ones that are confident, not really traditional, don't believe in those sort of values, or they can be high interest, yes, but a lot of them are going to be high experience, because again, they're not going to be shy. So again, it's the other extreme of guys who just gesture, like they make too many jokes or they gesture, or the women are around that they like and they start like being annoying. You know, they start like joking with the chick, but maybe it would be okay a couple of times, but they take it way too far. Or they like just gesture and hang off them, and they treat them like a little brother would treat a sister, and now it's not sexual, like it's annoying. See, guys think sometimes guys will be like, oh, I'm your brother, think of me as your brother, I'm acting like I'm her brother, and that's all retarded. Again, any little games or any tricks that you're using, understand that they're going to come across, and again, it's not good for your psyche. See, man sees banana, man goes up tree and gets banana. That's really it. Doesn't play all of these fucking gay games and tricks and like, if I do the right moves and shit, the banana's going to come to me, or like I'm going to get it under some false scheming pretenses. That's not how life works. Game is dead. Understand game died, or game is still a mouthpiece, is important, but game died when Instagram got big. Game died when you could pretend to be someone that you weren't. You could kind of like LARP quite a bit, but Instagram and things like that, and people know you. That's your resume. Like, people know that you exist. They're going to know people that you know. So a lot of those sort of ideas have changed, and you yourself have to adapt to the fact that they've changed. See, gesturing and PUA tactics and like peacocking and shit like that. Peacocking can work to a smaller degree in that you're going to get attention, and you can also be a unique character. Women can relate well to that. Something, and again, I'll lean into this sort of thing, but I'll make it into another video. I got a red light now, but I'm going to make it into a video of how to broadcast your personality. See, a lot of the things, again, it's how to deal with trauma. A lot of you guys have got trauma and you don't really know how to resolve it. And then when you meet a woman or you meet people, it comes across. So you think that trauma is good. Trauma is good in the concept your nose has been broken in a fight and now you've fixed it and you've learnt to fight and you've learnt to get through it all. But unresolved trauma, women can smell it and they don't like it. They don't want to deal with it because they know that it's going to come across in some way. You're insecure, you're going to be hard to connect to. You're not someone that they want for the long term because you haven't dealt with your trauma, your experiences. Maybe you had a bad breakup, you're going to take it out on her. Similar idea to what we think with trauma, that we don't want a traumatized chick that at least hasn't dealt with it, because she's going to put you through the same crap that her ex did to her. Maybe her ex broke her heart, and now she's going to be monitoring you all the time, being like, you're doing just what my ex Michael did, and like, he was an asshole, and now you remind me just of him. There's nothing worse than that. Some people have a very similar thing though, because they haven't dealt with their own trauma. I'm going to introduce this into the next video, which would be how to resolve traumatic experiences to actually be something able to be abundant and share love and show all of your emotions. And I'll also deal with another one based on the other shit that I said, which is how to be abundant with your emotions and actually show it, but also how to show your personality and how to develop it, how to build a personality. Because a lot of people are trying to be someone they're not. They're trying to be like someone that they think the other person would like. They're not able to be a rigid personality of who they are. Like, you can be fluid, yes, but you're actually who you're meant to be. Like, you're building off your caricature is actually you, mind, body, and soul is in one person. How do I broadcast that to the world instead of how do I learn a couple of little strategies like wearing suits and all this crap and I've got a cigar in my mouth. Women don't like that. They don't like any of that shit. It's little dick energy. It's fun to do shit if you like it and do shit with the lads, but I understand none of that shit's attractive for women, specifically younger women. I mean, the smell is smelly enough. But yeah, I'll teach you guys more of this shit, and then that's what's to come. All right, lads, till next time.